Can the St. Louis Blues turn things around? Well, I'm going to tell you what I liked that I actually have seen so far coming up here in Locked On Blues.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Lock On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here in the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, I'm going to talk about breaking down what I've seen so far and things that I actually do like that I've seen. I'm going to talk about the goalies within Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer, and of course, Buffalo tonight. Some thoughts on taking on those Sabres. We have a lot to get into on today's episode of Locked On Blues. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place $5 bets, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I hope everybody is having a great day. I know today has been one of those days for me where it's been a little rough at times, but it's been fine. So all good. But I am excited about the game tonight. But I want to talk about what I've seen so far that I actually do like. What I do like is, and I'm excluding the game, by the way, against the Capitals, but it's the goalies. I think the goalies have actually played pretty decent hockey. Now, I know it's easy to look at these two goalies and say, okay, well, they're not winning games. And however, that is true. I think that they also are playing well as they can be, because again, you have to remember too that with the Blues' situation, right? They don't have, let's face it, they don't have a good defense. So it is more difficult for the goalies to excel and to do better. So I think that with, again, what they do have, there is positivity, especially at Jordan Binnington and his positioning in net. I know Face the Nations is kind of the thing that's on everyone's mind when it comes to Binnington across the NHL. I'm not just talking about, the Blues. I'm talking about like the entire NHL. Everyone still thinks that he's going to be the starter for Team Canada, which I agree. I don't see really any other goalie. I mean, I know there's, goalies that I respect, like a Marc-Andre Fleury, but again, he's older in his career, and I just don't see him in that position. Again, nothing to do with how he is in his career, and I just wanted to put that out there that there is a lot of talented Canadian goalies, but Binner is still in his prime, so that's why I'm kind of like, I feel like he would get it over some other players. However, I don't make the rules, but again, that is a positive to me. Another positive, I guess you can say, is points and goals and assists, all being led by Jordan Kyrou. Now, I understand Kyrou isn't blowing people's minds. I see it all the time on social media. He's not shooting enough. He's not doing enough. It's all these negative thoughts and feelings towards Jordan Kyrou, which makes me kind of confused sometimes because, again, why don't other players on the Blues, especially when it comes to this point situation, right? Where you have players that you should be seeing putting up more points that are not. And I'm not talking, about some of the defensive players. I'm talking about even maybe guys like, Texier with only 3 points. You also have Torbachenko with only 2 points. Like, you have guys that don't have that many points. Jake Neighbors with 6. So, again, I am not here defending Kyrou for no reason. I have a reason. Kyrou has 14 points, 5 goals, and 9 assists. Good for him. And that is something that I do like. I think that with Jordan Kyrou, he does step up when he needs to. Sure, there's elements to his game that are not liked by everybody, but again, there's only so much he can do on the ice. I mean, when you watch the Blues play, and I'm trying to be positive, right? I'm not trying to be so negative in this episode, but at the end of the day, when you watch this team play hockey, they're consistent in turnovers, and Kyrou does contribute to that, and I'm not blind to it. I do see it. I'm just addressing that I do like at least he is leading the team in all the positives. You have the guys that lead the teams in the negatives, like with penalty minutes. It's P.O. Joseph of 23. And yeah, like It sucks, but it is what it is. I think that when it comes to just different players on the Blues, again, like I said, I got Jake Neighbors, Zachary Bolduc only has 4 points. It makes you kind of just a little bit frustrated. Holloway only 7 points. It's ironic because besides Kyrou, underneath him is Bushi, and he has 10 points with 4 goals and 6 assists. Below Bushi, it is Broberg on defense with 2 goals and 7 assists, and we know Philip hasn't played. He's only played the 12 games, so he's missed 4, right? Going to miss 5 tonight. And then you have Colton Pareka with 9 points. So it is kind of ironic, right, that the players that are defensive players that shouldn't really be getting these points are the ones leading the teams in points, which makes me wonder about the offense. But I feel like we all kind of knew that was the issue with this Blues' offense kind of heading into the season because they did show a lot of red flags, okay? They just are not aggressive enough, and that is a real issue. That's not something where, you can look past and think, "Oh yeah, this is great." No, this is an issue for St. Louis, especially when your defensive players are leading in points. I really do worry about this team, and I know that it's still early on in the season and there's a lot of time that can change. But just when I see things like that, you know, it just it's a little bit frustrating. That is all. So, anyways, let's continue to talk about things about this team. Another one, and I know that you might feel indifferent about it, it is Drew Bannister's ability to switch up the lines and pairings. I know that everybody likes that, and sometimes it can be a little bit annoying when there's new lines and pairings in every single contest. However, I will say he is trying, Kira. He is trying to find solutions, and I like that he is being productive, right, as a head coach and trying to make something happen. So I will give him credit on that. It's not always easy to switch up the lines and pairings, especially when there might be chemistry that might be built. Like you just don't know exactly what's going on, right? So for me, at least, I do like that the head coach is taking an active effort. It's just one of those crazy things, right? Where I think about this team and I just cannot believe that there isn't this chemistry that we've seen even on last year's team. And despite how last year's season turned out, I did expect more. So it is a little bit confusing, a little bit mind boggling. But at the end of the day, like there's nothing that can be said besides the fact that it's a straight up annoying. So that is what I've seen so far. I'm going to talk about both of the goalies in my goalie evaluation. I know that's why I kind of briefly talked about Binner and Hofer because I wanted to talk about this. Again, there are positives, but the negatives do outweigh the positives. I just want to say that. And, the loss to Boston, the 3-2 loss, again, another thing about this team that frustrates me is not being able to maintain the lead. But we've talked about this, and I don't know how many times I need to address this here on this podcast about my frustrations. I feel like every episode, I'm just more and more frustrated with things that this team isn't doing. And that is completely valid, by the way. It's completely valid to feel those things about this team because there is a lot of hope and potential. I mean, the Blues did have a busy offseason, right? Even at the trade deadline with getting Texier and not the trade deadline, at the NHL draft. Do not come at me right before the NHL draft. They got Texier. But it's just one of those things where I think about it and I'm like, whoa, they did all of this and this team still has the same issues, which screams to me coaching change. Do I think they're going to do it? I don't know. I don't know the plan, honestly, of what of what Doug Armstrong is going to do. So for that, I don't know. But you know what I do know? I do know about my friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on NFL games all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I know I love FanDuel. I am excited for tonight's game with the Eagles and the Commanders. I think Eagles are going to win. Spread is -3.5 for the Birds, and I think I'm going to take that. But yeah. So, anyways, let's go talk more about this goalie situation. I'll get back to my little tag thing here. So, obviously, the two goalies that the Blues have is, and I did mention this before, with Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer. So, obviously, right, you have to be very realistic about, and I hate to say it, but you have to be very realistic about this team. This is not a team that is going to get you what you want, right? They're not going to get you that Stanley Cup this season. And I'm sorry, but that is the truth. And they're just simply not a cup contending team. However, Jordan Binnington is a cup contending goalie, which makes me kind of think, okay, there is still that potential. So this season, let's go take a look at what Jordan Binnington has done. He's played 12 games. He's won 4. Goals allowed in a game usually average out to be about 3. His save percentage is .887, which isn't so great. So you might be wondering, Haley, come on. It's not his fault, okay? The Blues' defense have just been awful. Jordan, I mean, if you look at his positioning and you really take an actual close look at how he is on the ice, you will see that he is elite. He is aware. He has a great response time. That Capitals game, I said, just forget about it. But it is one of those situations where he is a better goalie than his stats are giving him. I spoke to Joel Hofer, and I said to Joel this year, a couple weeks ago, right? So, I spoke to Binnington last year, and he spoke very highly of you and basically said that you're, easy to coach and train. And he praised Jordan. And I think that they have a very good relationship just on speaking with both of them about each other, just the way that they complement each other. And when I think about strong goalie tandems in the NHL, you had Ullmark and Swayman last year. Obviously, that's not the same this year with the Bruins, but you see these goalie tandems that work out really well. Like the Wilds is like 5 goalie. It's like 3 goalie rotation, but I'm being dramatic. I think of Joel Hofer. He's a great backup, right? You can utilize him. He performs well, gets the job done. Now, I do have a question for you. Do you see Joel Hofer ever being a starting goalie? And I want you to think about that. Take 5 seconds. I'm not going to speak for 5 seconds. Take the silence and come up with an answer. If your answer was yes, you're absolutely right. Joel Hofer can be shaped and molded into being a starting goalie. However, with goalie development, that does take time. That takes more time than anything else. So you have to be very patient with that. And just knowing that, he's still young, okay? And with goalies, it's different than the forwards, defensemen. It's different than all the skaters, right? He's 24 years old. He's a year younger than I am. But yet, in goalie land, he is young. I think that him even playing the way that he played, I mean, he's played 5 games so far this season, 3 wins, which honestly, good for him. 1 shootout situation. He allows about 3 goals a game, kind of like Binner, and his save percentage is at .903. Not as many games. But the point is that he still can level up and play. So I think when you are evaluating these 2 goalies, you have to just be very honest with yourself and very transparent about the situation. Right now, Jordan's obviously going to get the majority of the games. Joel, he'll get the games that Jordan doesn't get. But I wouldn't be surprised, too, within the next couple of seasons, you just see Hofer getting more and more games. And I think that's the plan that they actually do have. I just think that it's going to take some time, but that is okay. Like, literally, that is okay. And I am completely, fine with that. So, um, yeah, so that's that. All right, I'm going to talk to my friends over at Prize Picks. Um, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has to make getting daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks, okay? Um, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money on sports action in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks puts their members first, so withdrawals are all fast, safe, and secure. With my Prize Picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes, and they also take Venmo as a form to withdraw or deposit, which is honestly up my speed. I love my Venmo. So, cannot stress how great Prize Picks is. All right. So, this is what you need to do, okay? You need to listen to me right now. Download the app today and use code Locked On NHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, $50 instantly when you use code Locked On NHL and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. The Blues play the Buffalo Sabres tonight, and I'm excited. Okay. Like, I actually feel like the Blues could win this game. This is something I chit chatted with you about previously. And I was like, you know what? This could be it. This could be the game where the Blues get their mojo back. I think the problem with me is, right, is that I've just felt very negative about this team, but there is a lot of good. Okay. So let's go talk about the projected lineup tonight. Going to read you the lines, obviously, like I always do. So on that first line, it's Jake Neighbors, Bushi, Kyrou. Second line, Saad, Shen, and Dylan Holloway. Third, Alexei Torpachenko, Foxa, Walker. Fourth line, Matthew Joseph, Oscar Sundquist, and Kapanen. Defense, you have Suter, Pareko, P.O. Joseph, Justin Folk, Scott Perunovich, and Matthew Kessel. In net is Jordan Binnington. This was a game where I said I feel like maybe, just maybe, Joel Hofer would start, but he's not, evidently, so it's going to be Binnington. I just would have rather Hofer start in this game, just because I feel like this would have been a good game just to get him in, get him a couple of reps, and get him comfortable back on the ice again. I'm very understanding that, Jordan's the starting goalie, right? But I just had a little part of me that was like, oh, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if you had Hofer start, just get him some time. So Banster said about Thursday's game, we lost a hockey game. I mean, Tuesday's. Okay. He said this about the game on Tuesday, mind you, today. We lost the hockey game. We felt like we had to make changes. And the most notable move is moving Sod up to the second line with Holloway and Shen. He also said, I think Sauter is going to be a bigger part of our game tonight. I think it's going to change himself and that line. Certainly, we're looking for more scoring 5-on-5, and Sauter brings that. I expect him to have a big game for us tonight. Now, by the time this video goes up, the game will be over. However, I still feel very good about the Blues. I still feel like they're going to win tonight, especially if Brandon plays a bigger role. And they moved, obviously, Matthew down to the fourth line, which I also think could be well. He said, I think Maddie and Cappy on the wing with Sonny. That's going to be an aggressive line. 2 wingers that can really skate and get in the forecheck. And Sonny is obviously really smart defensively and makes good plays in the right spots. Both lines with the switches, it's going to be good for us tonight. So the time you see this, the game will probably be over. However, I want to say, I think the Blues win this game, a 4-3 victory. I think the Blues are going to actually put pucks in the back of the net tonight, and we're going to see good things. So I am personally excited. I cannot wait to rewatch this game when I get back home. I'm going to be out actually at a football game. But when I get back home, I'm going to rewatch the game. So yeah, team no sleep, but I do this basically all the time with the Blues. So this is just my life. But I am excited. And tomorrow I'm going to have a special collab with Locked On Bruins to preview that game. So I'll talk to you then. And like always, let's go Blues.